Welcome to the second episode of the Deep Dive to Pinoy Parent Conversations. I am Eric Cruz, a learning consultant and facilitator. And join me and our guests in this two-part episode as we talk about the challenges that many parents go through that help them shape who they are now as a Pinoy parent. Hello.
Hello.
How are you guys?
Good.
Good. Yeah, thank you once again for being here at the Pinoy Parent, the Deep Dive Conversation. And this is episode 2. So thank you for being a part of this one. Thank you. So let's go right into the conversations, shall we? Is there any pressure being like the first Filipina certified,
Yeah,
right?
with
Conscious parenting coach? Is there a pressure to get things right as a parent?
Well, because I know that conscious parenting is really a journey. So it takes off the pressure. It's more of like, it's an invitation actually for people to, just walk with this, connect with your children. It's always connection before correction. So even just the change of language, you want them to come from, I want my children also to have a loving relationship with us as parents.
Mhm.
So I don't want them to come from, they'll just follow because
They're scared.
they're scared, they're fearful of you. You want them to be able to have what I always say, write their own love story with life.
When Kit mentioned connection before correction, some people think it's connection with your kids, but actually it's really a connection with yourself. Because if you don't do the work, your kids will see it. When I was trying not to be shouty, they were still in that mood na they were still alanganin na, should I not? But when they saw that I wasn't frustrated all the time, I wasn't stressed all the time, that's when they started coming. So the connection with myself helped not just me, but the connection with my kids.
Right. And being a parent is one of the roles that we play.
Yes.
Basically, right?
Yeah.
We have to attend to ourselves.
Yep.
And I was going to direct the question to Ali and Julian because both of you are life coaches as well. You do lead coaching, and at the same time, you guys are executive coaches. See, Ali, may special edition pa yan as a decluttering coach. Diba? How is that like in terms of applying that at home?
At home, it was really a test of breaking notions. Becoming mindful of what you need. Do you want to make space for your stuff or space for people to gather? Space for us to work, space for the kids to play, especially in the middle of the pandemic. How do you make things work? So our house is really more of like a hybrid. It was really more of like an intentional thing and matching it with the current life stage and also lifestyle. So really becoming aware of what you want and what your kids need allowed me to decide so much faster. Oh, this has to go already.
Right.
No.
Grabe, ang ganda. Kasi tying that up with what you're saying, it's holding space. And holding space internally, but that is also reflected externally.
Yes.
In the spaces that we occupy.
Yep.
Beautiful. Ganda. But Julian, so where are you in all these space? Like,
yung sa akin naman, yung being a coach, sometimes kasi parang, especially dealing with people, with coaches, alam natin na a lot of the things that are happening in their lives now, parang reflections of what happened nung childhood, diba? And as a parent, taking in that perspective, parang there was that pressure na I don't want to break my child or do something na mahihirapan that will reflect negatively in the future. So parang nung start there was a part of me talaga na trying to be careful with how I approach being a parent. Na-overthink ko siya because of that awareness nga. And then I saw how it was affecting me, yung connection. I was not having that connection. And then parang eventually I learned to let go na lang and then realize na everything will be okay.
good intentions, diba? It's really just being more mindful. Am I coming from love or am I coming from fear? Is there a fear naman for, thanks to Julian and Ali, Mommy Pat, Daddy Je, diba? As influencers, and then you have a community of parents that you're supporting also, may expectation ba na you have to be like this, you have to be like that. Because a lot of people are looking up to you.
When I started content creation kasi, I'm aware na mataas ang expectations ng mga content creators kasi public figure ka eh. Should show kung ano yung in-expect nila sa'yo. Pero that's also the reason why I started. To show them na hindi lahat ng in-expect ng tao, yun ang nangyayari sa totoong buhay. So, nung nagpo-post na ako ng mga stories ko, doon nag-engage ang tao na hindi pala ako nag-iisa. Pati din sila.
Yeah. And see, Daddy J has his own channel as well. A Facebook page. So, right. Yan. So, ano naman ang mga expectations being a Daddy J?
I don't know. So, for now, I do what I think is right. I know I'm not always right. Listening to the other parents, I'm also learning as well. So, siguro actions na lang. And charge everything to experience.
Yan. Ganda. And Daryl, as a successful career woman, yan, tapos single parent, just thinking about it, where do you get the support? What's the biggest challenge for you? Maintaining a really good career as a sailor, internationally awarded sailor, but at the same time, loving gentle mom to your kids, si Kavi.
One of my greatest fears talaga is, being a single parent in the future. Kavi would think that, why don't I have a father? And he would start questioning that. And he would think that he's unloved, something like that, diba? So, yan yung one of the lingering fears that I have. But I'll just have to, give whatever I can.
Wow. And what took you to that level?
Yeah, love lang talaga. I'm very happy to have him, and I promise to give him whatever I can, the best that I can. Nothing forced.
Yeah, and you've been through a lot. I personally know, right? And thank you for letting me know the story. You've been through a lot as an individual, even before Kavi came. And how do you think that prepared you being a mom?
I think it's just to deal with things as it comes. So there's no point worrying about the things that are not yet happening. Diba? It's advancing your worries, advancing your anxieties. So what's the point? It may or may not happen. So yun, it's just really dealing with the present, living in it.
Yeah, and to segue to the theme of this episode, rising above. There's certain things that I'm sure you've risen above, challenges you've overcome, but what was the most difficult? What was the fear about, if there's any? And what was that? Maybe we can start with Ali and Julian. Julian, they're looking pensive and thinking about it. Yeah, you were sharing about specifically the first child, and it was a difficult moment for you.
That was mga 2017 when we gave birth to our son. And it was a big transition period for both of us. Me in particular, I was working as a freelancer in Malaysia where we were. Thus, we moved back here in the Philippines. And then I lost my biggest client, which was mga 90% ng income ko right when the baby arrived. And they say daw na for a man, yung biggest turning points daw ng life happens when you move your home, when you have your first child, and when you lose your job. So all three happened to me mga June 2017. Then sabi ko, nothing's gonna happen naman if I don't really do something from it. So parang, syempre with the support of Ali din, parang tinuloy-tuloy ko lang din siya, and then it started to bear fruit. I guess that had to happen for me to take responsibility and really be the kind of dad that I envisioned myself to be, na really making it happen for my family. So, tough time, pero very grateful naman for it. Kasi I know that is what built who I am now, and will continue to be a core part of who I am.
I'm sure a lot of our viewers can relate to that, especially now.
Yeah.
Difficult times, still in the pandemic, but when we talk about it, as if it's done na.
Yeah.
During the pandemic, diba? But it's still happening. It
Alam
has
mo
its
yun.
own concerns, diba? Mental health, but also rising prices, inflation. So maraming nahihirapan ng mga Pinoy parents. And yeah, hopefully they get something out of that share. Thank you so much. For you, what was the challenge?
Pinaka naging mahirap sa akin is after I gave birth to Misha, my first child. They didn't know. So, nasa postpartum stage pa ako noon. Every night, umiiyak ako. Parang ang dami kong problema. Hindi ko alam kung saan nanggagaling. Yung stress, siguro sama-sama. Yung stress, yung mga changes, yung mga expenses, lahat nagsama-sama siya. And siguro yung pinakamahirap kasi ang natira sa akin is yung emotional side ko, mental side. Dahil yung iyak ka talaga, yung hindi makahinga, ganon. So then I realized, mahalaga talaga yung support system. And my bad, kasi hindi ko naman nakwento sa kanya or sa iba kong family members kasi nga yung thinking ko na baka maging maliit yung tingin nila sa akin kasi nga hindi nila ako kilalang ganon. So yun, lesson learned kapag may mga ganong scenarios, if you feel that you're down, nade-depress ka, look for a support system and unahin mo yung kasama mo sa bahay.
Yeah, thank you for sharing that. DJ, how do you feel about hearing this story?
Isa yun sa siguro challenges kami. All this time, pala ko okay lang, walang problem, walang issues. Diba?
Oo, nakwento ko sa kanya after na, naka-move on na ako.
Naka-move forward.
Mabilis naman ako makamove on.
But thank you for sharing that. And I guess iba-iba what we're getting at is iba-iba yung challenge talaga. Iba-iba rin, different personalities. Having a child na 16 years old now, right? Kasi sila mga bata pa mga anak, di ba? Mga bata pa. What challenge do you think that a Pinoy parent should really prepare for?
Let their child grow.
Become themselves.
Become themselves. To allow your child to be themselves. I think the greatest challenge with us, kasi our first daughter also, she's the one who's so different from us. And since first, ang daming expectations. Diba? She should be like this, she should be like this, she should be the ate, she should be the good role model.
When we talked about the challenge, is really, that was the main challenge. However, when I saw myself differently, when I saw that it wasn't her, she was just being herself, and it was me with all my beliefs, my limiting beliefs, my emotional baggage that was keeping me from being there with her and seeing her differently. When I changed that view, the perspective that, they're not there to make me inis. They're not there to, and I realized that the trigger wasn't them, but something that was coming up from inside that happened to me in the past that put me back in that situation that I didn't feel comfortable with. So when I understood that, I then, like Kit mentioned, I take a step back. Trying to just step back, take a breath, relax, and then move forward and ask questions.
And taking it from this conversation, these are opportunities. Children are mirrors for us to reflect our own fears so we can handle them.
We can process them. Yeah.
Process them, overcome them, grow. Right? And so, I'd like to segue to Daryl. After everything that you've gone through, now that you're looking at your child, what is your biggest fear?
I'm more conscious now. Kasi siguro it's some things that we learned through like the programs that we went through. I'm also a wide reader. Also engage with a lot of people, different ages, parents, single moms. So for me, I really like to have my baby, my kid, to make his own choices. Diba? Yung hindi mo i-instill sa kanya dapat ganito, ganyan. I will be the kind of parent and I'll do my best to be that kind of parent to allow my child to make his own choice for himself. And of course, as a parent, it is my responsibility to guide him that, we probably could discuss the cause and effect of your choices.
So, iba-ibang fears talaga. Opportunities to grow and rise above. And having said that, let's take a deep breath. And this really is the deep dive, the Pinoy Parent Conversations, diba? And this is just the first part. We're gonna have the second part. We'll talk about how do you really rise above from these challenges and fears. What does it take? Diba? Lalo kung ikaw isang parent, Pinoy parent na iniisip, ano ba, saan ko ba kukunin yung pangkain ng anak ko? Di ba? Pambayad sa eskwela. You have all these concerns. And at the same time, you also want din naman to be connected. Di ba? To your children. So how do I handle all these things? And what will it take for me to be able to rise above the shadows? Thank you for joining us in the first part of episode 2. And we hope that you got some really good insights from the shares of our guests. As for me, this actually highlights the importance of just acknowledging first our own challenge, that it's okay to go through these things. Whether it be something external that we don't have any control of, or something internal as to our own scripts, where we think that we're not good enough, we're not doing enough as humanity. Also highlighting the fact that we all need a very good support system and a safe space where we can talk about these things and decide to just have a breath and respond better the next time. We hope that here at the Deep Dive of Pinoy Parent Conversations, we are able to provide you with that. We hope to see you again, the second part of episode 2 here at the Deep Dive of Pinoy Parent Conversations.